folks, an exciting one today. We're going to be unboxing the latest Lenovo Legion 7i with a RTX 5090 inside. Let's dive on in. Hey, let's dive on to the unboxing first, and then we'll set up the machine on my desk and I'll show you how to upgrade the SSD as well. So this is the latest 10th generation Legion Pro 7i, running the top of the line RTX 5090 with a whopping 24 gigs of video RAM. It's a beast. Now, I travel a lot and I'm also stuck at a desk a lot, so I wanted something portable while also powerful enough to drive native 4K gaming on an external monitor, and more on 4K gaming later. Now, I got the Legion on a Black Friday sale. It really does make a huge difference to something as expensive as one of these top-of-the-line gaming laptops. I was tossing up between the Legion, the Asus ROG Strix, and the Alienware Area 51. And spoilers, so far I haven't been disappointed with my choice. The Legion Pro 7i is widely regarded as one of, if not the best gaming laptop of the year. Its total system latency, very important for gaming, is class leading, and the Legion also tends to perform better than other 5090 laptops because of its huge power brick. More on that later. Okay, so I've unwrapped the machine. First impressions is it's a beautiful, sharp machine. We have an Eclipse black finish with an aluminium lid. The bottom panel is for air intake, with hot air going out the back grills. The interior, where the keyboard is, looks like high quality plastic. The whole machine weighs 2.6 kilograms, or 5.65 pounds. Very reasonable for a 16-inch gaming laptop. But once you add that power brick, more on that power brick later, boy, this whole thing does get heavy, but for good reason. Alright, trying out some of the keys on Lenovo's True Strike gaming keyboard. It feels alright. There's 1.5 millimeters of travel. It's a full-size numpad with large arrow keys as well. Great. The screen should be nice. It's a 240Hz OLED rated at 500 nits. Very responsive. I like the nice thin bezels as well. If you want something brighter, look for a mini LED laptop. Two other nice things related to design I've noticed. You can open the lid one-handed, very nice, and whether the lid's open or closed, you're able to take advantage of that main speaker bar. Onto the ports. On the left side, you've got the power connector, an HDMI 2.1. There are two DisplayPort 2.1 USB-C ports, one of them being a USB 4 Thunderbolt 4 port at 40 gigabits per second. And finally, there's a Type A USB 3.2 Gen 2 port at 10 gigabits. On the right side of the laptop, there are two more Type A USB ports. These are USB 3.1 ports, giving you 5 gigabits. Here's the grille. Looks clean, and actually looks pretty nice with the RGB lighting on at night. The backplate has a lot of holes, serving as the air intake for the laptop. We'll be taking this plate off later to install that second SSD. Very exciting. Alright, turning to chargers and power. Let's now check out that big power brick I mentioned earlier. It's heavy, taking the total weight of everything from 2.6 kg all the way to 3.8 kilos, or 8.44 pounds. But it's actually great because we get to feed 400 watts into this laptop, which enables that Intel Core Ultra 9 275HX to average 4 GHz overall across all its P and E cores, making the Legion Pro i7 one of the very, very best CPU performing machines among all 16-inch laptops. And that puts the Legion Pro i7 as one of the very, very best overall performing gaming laptops on the market, because it's got that top-of-the-line RTX 5090 graphics performance, along with a CPU that won't be limited by power constraints, like many other gaming laptops out there with a smaller power brick. So, how's the Legion Pro 7i's user experience and real-world performance? Well, big performance in a portable package. Tick. Although that 400 watt power brick adds a good amount of heft for travelers. 4K gaming, also a tick. Here you see the Legion hooked up to my 32-inch LG OLED. For the latest graphics intensive games, you often want to turn on upscaling and AI frame generation. Entomb the Dark Ages. With NVIDIA DLSS Super Resolution turned on and set to quality, and DLSS frame generation turned to 2x, I get around 80 frames per second. As a general rule of thumb, the RTX 5090 Mobile is roughly on par with a 5070 Ti in a desktop. So that's the best performance you can aspire to on a gaming laptop right now. Therefore, for gamers who don't really need the portability, get a desktop with a 5070 Ti. That card hits the sweet spot for performance versus price. If you want to do 4K gaming without upscaling and frame gen, then you want to be looking at the top of the line desktop machines with a desktop version RTX 5080 or 5090. All up so far, this laptop has become our entertainment powerhouse, whether it's playing graphics intensive shooters, grinding the ladder in strategy games, chilling with some cozy games, or watching movies. The Legion Pro 7i, a powerful and beautiful machine, has hit the mark so far, both at home hooked up to an external 4K screen and while traveling. Perhaps I'll do a 1-year review down the track and let you know if I change my mind. Okay, let me wrap up the video by showing you a step-to-step guide on how to upgrade the Lenovo Legion 7i. Now my machine came with a 1TB M.2 SSD, and fantastic news, there's an empty second slot. So one of the first things that you may want to do when you grab this machine is open up the laptop and install a second higher capacity M.2 drive so that you can download and install more games, store more movies, or in my case, have a nice big drive to record my OBS gameplay footage onto for my gaming YouTube channel. The 1TB drive that came with the machine simply isn't big enough to hold all of my downloaded games and movies and gameplay footage, which eats up space very quickly. Now, I'm going to be installing the 4TB Samsung 990 Pro. Now, this is widely regarded as one of the best performance to value M.2 SSDs on the market. It's a very reliable drive that does superbly on benchmarks that measure both read and write speeds, along with the drive's ability to handle prolonged usage stress. Now, this is thanks to features Samsung has included, like the pseudo SLC flash memory and a large 4GB DRAM cache hosted on top of that memory. Now, to install the drive, we're going to turn the laptop upside down, remove the backplate, then disconnect the battery, then remove another metal plate to finally gain access to the SSD slot. The backplate is held in place by 10 M2 Phillips head screws. So that means they have the common Phillips head and a 2mm diameter thread. We'll start by removing the longer 12mm screws. There are 6 of them. Then we'll remove the shorter 4 screws near the hinges, and we'll keep them separate from the other 6. Great, with all 10 screws out, we can start to remove the backplate. Now I say start because the damn thing doesn't exactly come off easily. It's clipped in fairly well, even with all the screws out. It really helps if you have prying tools, like a plastic clip. Now whatever you use, make sure it is plastic and not metal, to prevent accidentally shorting the motherboard. Eventually the lid will pop off, revealing some of the laptop internals. You'll see the battery down the bottom, and some metal plates that cover up the 3 fans and the motherboard. We'll need to remove one of these metal plates in the middle to access the RAM, SSD and Wi-Fi card. But before we go further, you should always disconnect the battery to prevent accidental short circuits, blowing components, or otherwise risking electrical damage. RAM and SSDs are particularly vulnerable to electrostatic discharge. Now let's remove the metal panel that covers the memory, SSD and Wi-Fi. That means removing another 10 Phillips screws. Now 6 of the screws are numbered, so we're going to remove those first. You'll notice that if the screw is very tight, personally I'll use a larger screwdriver to first dislodge the screw, partially, and then a smaller screwdriver to finish the job. Alright, here's Mandy jumping in with a pair of tweezers to help me dislodge one of these pesky screws.
Get out of the way, it's my turn!
Here you see I can kind of lift the metal plate off, but it is still bolted on above the fan. That's where we need to remove the final 4 screws. So let's do that now. Alright, sweet. With all 10 screws out, let's now remove this metal plate to finally get a look at the guts of this thing. Here we can see 2 RAM slots, both currently taken up by 2 16GB DDR6400 CSO DIMM memory. Moving on to the M.2 SSD slots. The one on the right is the primary one. It's a PCIe Gen 5 slot, already taken up by the 1TB PCIe Gen 4 drive that came with my machine. Then there's the free Gen 4 slot on the left, where I'm going to install the Samsung 990 Pro. That's 4TB of extra memory. It's really going to come in handy for storing files and saving recorded gameplay footage from OBS Studio. Installing NVMe M.2 drives is really easy. You just slide it into the motherboard at a 45-degree angle, push it down, it'll clip in place with an extra screw to hold it in there. Alright, there we are, 4TB of extra memory. Sweet. Now we just got to reassemble the machine. Putting back the metal plate, covering the memory and SSD, then reattach the battery back to the motherboard, and finally reattaching the laptop backplate. Just a quick note, there's every chance that Windows won't immediately recognize your new drive. You'll need to go into disk management to initialize and format the new SSD so that it shows up in File Explorer. Alright, well that sums up the unboxing, setup and initial impressions of the latest and top of the line Lenovo Legion Pro 7i. It's one of the, if not the best, 16-inch gaming laptop that money can buy, with an RTX 5090 with 24GB of VRAM and an Intel 275HX supported by a solid 400-watt charger. This isn't a sponsored review. We bought this machine with our hard-earned cash. And so far so good. This beautiful machine has been delivering the goods. If you found this video useful, please consider giving it a thumbs up. It would really help support the channel. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, thanks for watching.